All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a look at the animal kingdom, but with a twist.
Oh, a twist. I like twists. What have we got?
Well, we're looking at this list from the Top 10's website. It's called, get this, Top 10 Animals You Can Ride.
Animals you can ride? Makes sense. Sounds pretty straightforward.
You'd think so, right? But it's not just your usual horses and camels. There are some pretty unexpected creatures on here.
Oh, okay, now you've got my attention. Unexpected how?
Yeah.
Like out-of-the-box kind of animals.
Exactly. But first, we've got to give a nod to the classics.
Right, the usual suspects.
Yeah, horses, elephants, donkeys, camels, they all make the list. Actually, the entry for horses even talks about someone with a horse allergy trying to find a hypoallergenic breed.
Wow, a horse allergy. That's got to be rough if you love horses.
Yeah, that's some serious dedication. But honestly, I'm more interested in the less conventional riding animals. Those are the ones that really caught my eye.
Okay, I'm all ears. Hit me with some of those unusual mounts.
So, are you ready for this? Ostriches. Apparently, people ride them.
Ostriches. Wait, like those giant birds, the ones that can outrun a horse?
The very same. They can hit speeds over 30 miles per hour. They're the fastest land birds on Earth.
I had no idea people actually rode them. Where does that even happen?
Well, the list mentions both Australia and Africa. So, picture this. Racing across the savannah on an ostrich, wind whipping through your hair.
That's a pretty wild image. I'm not sure I could handle that much speed. I'm more of a slow and steady kind of rider.
Well, then, maybe reindeer are more your speed.
Reindeer. Like Santa's reindeer.
Yep. The list says they're used for riding in Finland.
Finland, huh? That
Yeah.
makes sense. Reindeer in snowy landscapes, it's practically a postcard. But have you ever pictured yourself on a reindeer? I'm not sure I have.
Honestly, not until I saw this list. But now I kind of want to try it.
Okay. Ostriches, reindeer, those are pretty unique. Anything else? Or are we sticking to, like, the Arctic and the savannah for riding options?
Oh, we're just getting started. Get ready for this one. Giraffes.
Giraffes! Hold on. How's that even possible? They're so tall.
Right. It seems crazy, but apparently people ride them in South Africa.
South Africa. Wow, you'd have quite a view from up there. No need for a safari truck when you're cruised around on a giraffe.
Exactly. Talk about a unique perspective. And speaking of unique, we've also got zebras. The list mentions them being ridden in China.
Zebras, now that's a bit more down to earth, at least compared to giraffes. They're like horses, but with a much cooler paint job.
I know, right? Stripes for style points.
Hmm.
Okay, but here's a real head scratcher. The list just says mule, but it doesn't give any more information.
A mule. That's interesting. Well, I'm no expert on mules, but I know they're strong and sturdy.
Yeah, they're known for being tough and sure-footed. I'm guessing those qualities would make them pretty good riding animals, especially in rough terrain.
You're probably right. Think about it. If you were traveling through mountains or deserts centuries ago, a mule would be a reliable companion.
Definitely. Okay, next up, we've got another entry that's a bit vague. The water buffalo.
Water buffalo, huh? Now those I'm actually familiar with.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
Well, in Southeast Asia, they're commonly used for riding. Think places like the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. They're perfect for those environments. You know, all those rice paddies and wetlands?
Right, they're built for that kind of terrain.
Yeah.
Okay, buckle up, because now we're entering the newcomers section, and this is where things get really interesting.
Newcomers. Sounds intriguing. What kind of animals are we talking about?
First up,
Whale. A whale? Wait, what? How do you even ride a whale?
I know, right? The source just puts a question mark next to it. I have absolutely no idea what they're getting at.
Riding a whale. Maybe it's more like being pulled by a whale, like holding onto its fin or something. I've seen those videos of people swimming alongside whales.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that. Or imagine a special saddle designed for whales. I mean, it's a far-out idea, but kind of fun to think about.
Okay, a whale saddle. That's pretty creative. What's next on this wild list of newcomers?
Next, we have dog. Now, the source mainly focuses on their domestication history, which we all know and love. But it doesn't say much about riding them.
Oh, riding dogs. Well, when you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind is dog sledding.
Ah, good point. That definitely counts as riding.
Huh.
Imagine being pulled across the snow by a team of powerful dogs.
It's a classic image of the Arctic. It's a true testament to the bond between humans and dogs.
Definitely. Okay, we've got 3 more newcomers to cover. Yak, giant tortoise, and dolphin. What do you think?
All right, let's hear about these last few newcomers. Starting with yaks. I feel like those belong in a totally different environment than the whales and dolphins.
You're right. Yaks are definitely land animals, But they're not your average farm animal. They're built for high altitudes, like the Himalayas.
The Himalayas. Wow, those are serious mountains. So people ride yaks up mountains? That's
That's
intense.
what the source says. They're like the ultimate all-terrain vehicles of the animal kingdom. Okay, how about giant tortoises? What comes to mind?
Giant tortoises? Well, they're known for being, let's say, leisurely.
The source actually says that you can walk faster than a giant tortoise, but apparently people DO ride them.
Really? I wonder where that happens. I'd imagine it would be a very, very slow ride.
Probably. All right, last but not least, we've got dolphins. Now, this one raises some questions for me.
Dolphins. I mean, they're incredibly intelligent and playful creatures, but riding them? I'm not so sure about that.
The source mentions holding on to their fins to ride them, but I can't help but think about the ethical implications. Dolphins are wild animals, after all.
Exactly. It's important to consider the animal's well-being in any interaction. Just because something might be possible doesn't mean it's right.
I totally agree. We have to be mindful of our impact on all creatures, especially those as intelligent and social as dolphins. Okay, so we've explored some pretty wild riding animals from ostriches to giant tortoises, but this list from the top 10s isn't done with us yet. We still got a few more contenders to go, and then we can wrap up our deep dive.
All right, bring it on. I'm ready for more unexpected animal encounters. What else is on this crazy list?
Okay, get ready for this one. Human.
Human. Wait, like riding other humans? Isn't that what we do all the time? Think about it. Piggyback rides. Kids sitting on shoulders.
You got it. The source actually points that out. We've been riding each other since we were kids. It's a funny way to think about it. But then there's a whole bunch of other animals listed, and I'm not sure how practical riding them would be.
Oh, like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, ready for this? Sheep, goats, lions.
Lions. Whoa, hold on. Riding a lion? That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Right, and it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
We've also got cattle, rhinoceroses, hippopotamuses, and bulls.
Okay, yeah. I think it's safe to say that riding most of those animals would be either incredibly difficult or just plain dangerous.
Agreed. I think I'll stick with horses and camels for my riding adventures.
Yeah.
But honestly, this list has been so fascinating. It's made me think about how long humans have been riding animals and all the different reasons we do it.
Absolutely. It's a practice that goes back thousands of years, you know? It's shaped our relationship with the animal kingdom, and it's had a huge impact on human societies.
And it's not just about transportation or practicality. It's also about the bond between humans and animals, the thrill of the experience, and the connection to nature.
You're right. It's like this whole complex tapestry of history, culture, and our relationship with the natural world. But it's also important to remember the ethical side of things.
Exactly. Just because we can ride an animal doesn't mean we should.
Right. Some creatures are clearly not meant to be ridden. I mean, imagine trying to saddle up a rhinoceros.
Yeah, that's not a good image.
Exactly. We have to be mindful of the animal's well-being and their natural behaviors. We need to ask ourselves, is this interaction actually good for the animal, or is it just for our own entertainment or convenience?
I think that's a really important point to consider.
Yeah.
Our desire to ride animals shouldn't come at the expense of their welfare.
I agree. It's about finding that balance between our fascination with the animal world and our responsibility to treat all creatures with care and respect.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about the practicalities of riding different animals, the history and culture behind it, and the ethical considerations that come into play. But before we wrap things up, I have one more question for you. If you could choose any animal to ride, real or are mythical, what would it be and why?
Any animal, real or mythical, that's a tough one. There are so many incredible creatures to choose from. But if I had to pick, I think I'd go with a griffin.
A griffin. Wow, that's a majestic choice. Half eagle, half lion,
Yeah.
soaring through the skies. I can see why that would be appealing.
Exactly. It's the perfect combination of power and grace. Plus, imagine the view from up there. You'd have the best of both worlds. The strength and majesty of a lion and the freedom of flight like an eagle.
I love it. That's a fantastic choice. What about you? Is there a mythical creature that calls to you, or would you stick with something a little more down to earth?
You know, I've always been fascinated by dragons.
Dragons. Now, that's a classic. They're often portrayed as fearsome and powerful, but also wise and ancient.
Right. And imagine riding a dragon. It would be an experience unlike anything else. The power, the thrill, the connection to something truly ancient and magical.
It would be like riding a force of nature. So dragons for you, griffins for me. But hey, we want to hear from you too. What animal would you ride if you could?
Yeah, share your pick with us. Let us know what creature, real or mythical, would be your ultimate writing companion.
And don't forget to use the hashtag Deep Dive Ride so we can see your answers. We might even feature some of your choices on our next deep dive.
We're always looking for new adventures and exciting creatures to explore, so let those imaginations run wild.
And of course, a huge shout out to the Top 10's website for providing the inspiration for this deep dive. It's a great resource for all sorts of quirky lists and interesting topics.
Definitely worth checking out if you're looking for some fun facts and thought-provoking ideas.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of rideable animals. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through the animal kingdom, from the familiar to the fantastical and everything in between.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you and with our listeners.
And remember, the next time you see a horse, a camel, or even a dog, think about the long and fascinating history we humans have shared with these incredible animals.
And who knows, maybe someday some of those wilder writing dreams might even become a reality.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those imaginations running wild.
Oh, a dragon. That would be incredible. I can just imagine the heat radiating from its scales as you soar through the air.
Right, and the sheer size of it, you'd feel so small perched on its back.
Hmm.
But even though it's just our imagination, I think there's something to be said for choosing a powerful creature like that.
Yeah, it's like it represents facing your fears or embracing the unknown. Like you're not afraid to take on a challenge, even if it seems daunting.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got griffins, we've got dragons. Is there anything else out there, real or mythical, that you think would be amazing to ride?
Hmm, that's a tough one. There's so many possibilities, but if I had to pick something different, maybe a giant sea turtle.
A giant sea turtle. Oh, I love that. It's like the opposite of the dragon, right?
Mhm.
Calm, peaceful, gliding through the ocean depths.
Right. Imagine all the incredible creatures you'd see swimming alongside you. It'd be like a slow motion underwater safari.
Oh, that sounds so serene. I think I'm changing my answer. Giant sea turtle it is.
See, this is what I love about these conversations. It really gets your imagination going. You start thinking about all the possibilities, and you realize there's a whole world out there just waiting to be explored.
And that's what this deep dive has been all about, right? Exploring the incredible diversity of the animal kingdom and our relationship with these creatures. We've talked about the practicalities of riding, the history and culture behind it, and even the ethical considerations.
It's been a fascinating journey, and hopefully, our listeners have learned a thing or two along the way.
Absolutely. But we don't want the conversation to end here, so we're throwing it out to you, our listeners. What animal would you choose to ride, if you could?
Let us know. Real or mythical, we want to hear your wildest riding dreams.
Share your pics with us on social media using the hashtag Deep Dive Rides. We're excited to see what you come up with.
And a huge thank you to the Top 10's website for inspiring this deep dive. It's a great resource for anyone who loves lists, trivia, and just plain fun facts.
Definitely. Check it out if you haven't already. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of rideable animals. We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
And remember, the next time you see a horse, a camel, or even a dog, take a moment to appreciate the long and fascinating history we share with these amazing creatures.
And who knows, maybe someday some of those wilder writing dreams might just become a reality.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those imaginations running wild.